Due to technical difficulties, this episode's audio is recorded from the camera and not the microphones. Please excuse the quality and enjoy anyway. Hello and welcome back to the podcast where film people film people. Today I am welcomed by the amazing Union UBCP Vice President and ACTRA National Counselor, Liza Huget. Is that how you say it?
Liza Huget.
Liza Huget.
Yes.
There we go. Welcome to the podcast.
So good to be here.
I want to start with knowing how you fell in love with storytelling, the art of acting.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I think as a child, I spent a lot of time in my imagination. I was an only child and was moved around a lot. So there was this mechanism that took over in my life that sort of lived in the realm of my imagination. And that sort of brought me to, performing on stage as a child. My mother was a singer, so just watching her perform and, how you tell a story with a song, that sort of thing.
Yes.
That was kind of where I started understanding the power of storytelling and our human experiences, being able to express that and allow people to have space to feel those maybe difficult emotions or laugh. I love to make people laugh.
Yes.
So that's where my acting bug sort of came from at an early age.
Oh, I love it. And then how did you transition into becoming a professional actress?
Yeah, so we had moved from Jamaica to Canada, and I spent a lot of time just watching television and listening to the radio because I didn't want to have an accent.
Right.
I didn't want to stand out. I was 15 years old, and I thought, okay, what can I do to just fit in? And so, of course, I joined the acting class in high school and band, and that was the place that I just really felt at home.
Yeah.
So I did that. Then I ended up getting married at 16.
Oh, very young.
Very, very young.
Yes.
Getting married at 16, having my first child at 17. And then I turned 21. And my mother, we were celebrating my birthday. And she said, Lisa, I want you to think about what you want to do with your life. You're a mother, you're great at being a mom, but you're not really doing anything fulfilling for yourself.
Right.
And I thought about it, and I thought, I always wanted to be an actor. Why did I lose that dream? So I took a course at Brihansky Theater School, which was in the evenings after work. He thought, I did maybe three sessions with him, not 3 sessions, but 3 series of workshops with him. He said, you're ready to go, just get an agent.
Wow.
But there was something in me that said, no, if I'm going to do this, I want to fully immerse myself in the whole process of training and learning. So I went to Studio 58, Langara, did their program, and then I felt ready to sort of jump into being an actor after that.
Yeah.
And so that's how it started.
It must have been a little scary, though, being such a young mother and then deciding to pursue this industry that is a scary beast of itself.
Yes.
All while being a new mom but kudos to you for doing it, because I'm sure that taught your child, to follow their dreams as well.
Yeah, exactly. And, it was interesting finishing theater school and, working in theater, but the industry here was now starting to build some momentum. The television and film industry was building momentum, so my agent was sending me out for, nurse number 1, prostitute number 2,
Right.
all these little bits and pieces, and we just kind of went from there. I did end up, in terms of being a mother, there's a practical piece there that I need to pay my bills and feed myself and my child.
Yes.
So I ended up doing a lot of background work, stand-in work. I did a few stunts. I was a hand double, just really kind of doing whatever I could to stay in the industry and continue to work on my craft. As you know, as an actor, you're continuing to train.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
You're always learning, always unfolding, always evolving.
Yes.
So yeah, that took many years of my life. And at one point, I thought, I'm not actually doing what I love anymore. I'm doing background work, and I'm watching my fellow actors do their work, or I'm standing in, which was a fantastic learning experience in terms of, what goes into making a show.
Yeah.
But I made the decision at that point to leave the industry altogether. I was singing in the band.
Yes, that's my next question. What into that?
So I thought, okay, what else can I do that is going to fulfill me creatively, and enliven myself as an artist, because I'm an artist, and for me at the time, being a stand-in, doing background work, I could feel that it wasn't fulfilling that thing in me, that creative piece that I wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to school and I went back to school. I mentored under my voice teacher for 4 months at Studio 58. And she said to me, "You're so interested in the psychology and what's actually going on for people. There's a program upstairs called Expressive Art Therapy." And so I took that, and I was out of the industry for about 8 years.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, working as an expressive art therapist, an addictions counselor.
Yes.
And then I went into site managing there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are truly a woman of all skills and talents, it seems
Not
like.
all, but
Well,
multifaceted human, yes.
And in my opinion, one of the best talents people can have is the ability to sing. And you have that talent. I was watching some videos of the So Tight Band, and you have stage presence, phenomenal stage presence, and your voice is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I want to know how the So Tight Band came to be, and what that meant for you to perform in that way, because it's different than film and TV, but it's still storytelling.
100%. So in terms of So Tight, I had just come back. I did 2 years singing internationally with a cover band, so 6 nights a week.
Wow.
In nightclubs. We got to stay in these beautiful hotels, so there's wonderful things about that. So I just returned from doing that. That's where I learned to sing. Someone heard me on set, one of my fellow backgrounders, stand-ins. They said, "Oh, you could sing. Do you want to come to Asia and sing?"
Wow.
And I thought, well, I can act like I can sing. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
So we got there, and I brought my daughter along with me. And we did that for 2 years. So in coming back, that was the time when I started to think about, what do I want to do now? And a fellow called me based on a recommendation from the person I'd gone to Asia with. And he said, "Well, we've got a band here. We need a singer. Come and audition for us." And the rest is history. I mean, I think we went on a good run, like maybe 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years of singing pretty much every weekend.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What was your best memory or favorite performance with being with the So Tight Band?
Well, I think what I loved the most with that band is they sort of came with their own fan base. So there were people that were there just week after week. My favorite performances would be, I would say, the outdoor venues, when I could just really blow out and be completely wild, because it's outdoors.
Yes.
It's not this contained space.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's such a part of, if you're a singer, a lot of times you could transition into acting quite easily, because it's all about the performance. I saw at the time when I started with So Tight that a lot of performers, singers, were, just wearing their jeans or whatever. But I had my mom's history. My mom was a cabaret singer.
Wow.
So I grew up watching her get ready, and she'd have 3 different outfits per show and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, if I'm going to be a singer, I'm going to really put my foot into it. I'm going to have the hair and the makeup and the outfits and the attitude and sort of bring that theatrical piece to the performances.
Those are always the best performances too. When
so much fun.
There's so much fun, and I remember watching one of the videos for So Tight, and it turned to the audience, and there's just this man full like disco dancing, and it made me laugh because that's what good bands do. They make their audience dance like no one is watching. And these days, lots of the bands that are around, I think they get a little worried about their image more than the performance, and it shows. And I just, even through the screen, I loved watching you perform. I couldn't imagine what it would be like in person.
Well, it's definitely a vibe.
Yes.
Right?
Sure.
And it's always about the energy. I did go back after I toured and realized I probably want to learn how to sing properly because I was all raw energy and guts. And I mean, that's what I bring, you know, to the table. But I needed to get some technical skill as well. And I think, though, you know, at the end of the day, for me as a performer, it's about bringing my energy into the room.
Yes.
You know, and it's sharing with the audience. And the most, coming back to your prior question, the most thrilling time of my life as a singer was when you could just feel the synergy between you and the audience, and there's just so much love coming at you, and you're just sending it right back.
Yes. That is the amazing thing about theater and singing, but you are also a TV actor. What is fulfilling about acting for TV? Because you don't get that audience reaction.
Yeah, that is a really good question. I mean, I think for me, you know, I feel like I'm still a work in progress when it comes to television and film, to be honest. What I've heard from directors and people that have worked with me is like, wow, Lisa, it's just so wonderful to have you on set. You bring this energy. So I would hope that that could translate somehow on screen. I'm not sure.
Right.
But I just want to go in and do the work, you know, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, all of those things you do as an actor to prepare. And in film, as you know, you don't have the feedback from the audience.
Yes.
Sometimes you're not getting the feedback anywhere. So it's really about trusting the process. I've done the work. Here I am, I'm just meeting my fellow actor. So let me give you this as a gift.
Yes.
What am I going to get back? Okay.
Right.
And let's continue to play while you have a camera here and people are going, you need to do it this way. So we can, you know, there's so much going on a film set.
And you also need to, you need to trust the process and yourself, that you've done the work, that you know what you're doing, that you are good, and that can be difficult and easy to forget as well. So you've studied at Studio 58, Rhodes College, and CDI College, I assume for counseling and for theater?
That's right.
Okay, so then how, because those are two very different, they do come together in what you were saying earlier about knowing how people think and the mindset, because that does translate into acting. But did you ever picture yourself doing both at the same time? Like right now, you know, you're doing both.
Yeah, it wasn't what I had imagined. You know, I thought, okay, when I transitioned and pivoted over to let me be an expressive art therapist, that was about the transformation that happened for me in theater school. You know, I had a lot of trauma growing up, and the healing that took place in voice class in particular, all of the breathing exercises, all of the movement kind of stuff, it started to release a lot of emotional trauma and things that I was holding on to. So becoming an expressive art therapist, that was what I wanted to inform my practice, was how can we use creativity to heal or transform, you know? So doing both got a little tricky. When I was just singing, and then working during the week. That was totally fine.
Right.
It was 7 days a week most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, workaholism is one of the things I've been working on
Yes.
my whole life.
Okay.
But then when I did try to incorporate, okay, being an actor, and at that point then I was site managing.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I navigated it was, oh, great, I'm a manager now, so I need to go somewhere for a few hours and I'll be right back. And I'd run off and go to an audition and I'd come back. And the company that I've been working with is the same company throughout the recovery house that I work for. So they've been really gracious in allowing me to take time off.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that recovery house. They're called Turning Point Recovery Society, and it's a non-profit addiction living program, right?
Mm-hmm.
How working at a recovery place, it's emotionally a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What lessons have you learned while working there, and why did you decide that that's a place that you wanted to spend your time at as well?
Okay, so what I've learned in the, goodness gracious, it's almost 15 years that I've been working.
Mm-hmm.
I've just learned that, you know, addiction affects all levels of society.
Mm.
You know, it's devastating. It comes with trauma.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because of trauma that people then find themselves in addiction. And other times, or also, you know, addicts go through a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So that's a big lesson there, and how that changes our lives. You know, there's been a lot of loss. I'm not going to lie, and my boss has asked me many times, like, I don't know how you continue to do this when you've got, you know, clients that are dead on Monday.
Right.
You know, how do you keep moving forward and doing the work? And for me, it's about, I'm meeting people in a place of change. They're wanting to make a change in their life. I cannot take on the role of, here I am to save you. That's not what I'm here to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to help you figure out what you want to do with your life, and help you navigate the journey towards that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what keeps me going.
Right.
In that job is, I really love helping people. It feeds me a little bit, you know, so that's a big thing, but I'm not tied to the outcome anymore. I think in my early days I definitely was coming in and going, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to make it work, and I had to just get over myself.
Right.
No, it's that person's life and they make the choices.
Right. With working in that industry and the film industry, both are taxing on your mental health, and you talked about letting go with the addiction industry. Have you found what works for you mentally for the film industry to be okay with not getting the job, with being inconsistent, with the mental struggles that come with being an actor?
Yeah, I mean, I think 90% of acting is rejection.
Right, yes.
You know,
yes.
You're putting yourself out there and saying, no. So I think that just comes with the territory, and hopefully as an actor starting out, you realize that it's actually not really about you.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially in the film industry where, you know, people are looking at, say, for casting, for example. So we're going to have 20 characters, and then they have to sort of break down, okay, who are these characters going to be? There's so many different things that go into it. I mean, height could be a thing.
Yes,
you know, we love this actress. She's fantastic, but she's going to be working with someone who's 2 feet taller than her. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that they're looking at a lot of things too in terms of diversity. You know, you really have to be grounded in terms of, this is who I am, and sometimes not getting the part is not about your talent or who you are.
Yeah. Those are things that I'm always reminding myself, my friends who are actors were reminding each other, you know, because you'll get an audition after audition after audition, but some of them you grow to love and you really want that part.
Yep.
But you have to be comfortable with the fact that you're probably not going to get it. You're going to do your best, but you're going up against however many people. And as much as you know you could do that role justice, you have to trust that if it's not me, the other person will. And I will watch the project and support it afterwards. But it's challenging. And I assume those worries, those wants, everything that comes with acting doesn't go away as time goes on. I think I will probably always have the same sort of, you know, mindset towards acting, and that's just how it goes.
And it's different now too with having self-tapes.
Yes.
Right? Because you don't have that feedback from the casting director anymore. You're just sort of, for me anyway, I feel like I'm just, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send it out there and then let me just forget about it.
Yes, because you get nothing back.
So it's like, am I doing okay? Am I you know?
Sometimes I'm really lucky. My agent will call and be like, loved that audition that you just did. It was really good. Or sometimes she'll call and give me some feedback. So can you retape this one? Or in general, I noticed you're doing that. So I take her input because it's the only input I'm getting. Do you feel pressure as an actress yourself, now as the vice president of UBCP, making decisions on behalf of other actors?
Definitely. I mean, I want to make the right and informed decision. What I think is really helpful is that we have a board.
Yes.
And we have a diverse board. Different ages, different ethnicities, different things going on, you know, on different levels, different skill sets. So that helps me in my decision-making process because I have 9 other voices that are also giving us input, and then we can come to a decision that hopefully is representative of our union.
What are your roles exactly as both the vice president of UBCP, but also the national counselor of ACTRA?
Well, it's quite funny, to me anyway. It might not be funny to everybody else. Because I looked it up. I said, oh, vice president, what am I supposed to be doing here? And it literally is just to be the person to stand in if the president isn't able to fulfill their duties. So
you're a stand-in.
I'm a stand-in.
Full circle.
Right. That is what the role is comprised of. But for me, and I think for most people who've served as vice president, there's more time involved. You know, you have to be at more meetings, and people are really looking more for your input. So trying to educate yourself on, you know, the things that are the challenges at the time, whatever they may be. In terms of being a national counselor, that's when we all gather. So there'll be board members from the different, you know, the different factions of ACTRA. So ACTRA Manitoba, ACTRA Saskatchewan, and we all come together and we start to look at the picture for all of Canada. And work towards making some decisions that are needed for the benefit of the full collective.
What steps or actions does the UBCP board do to gain trust with their members?
I mean, I'm hoping that it is through transparency, through conversations, you know, when we do have meetings, definitely to speak to the members. How are you doing? What are your needs? Are your needs being met? We all are able to receive emails. So you can always email me if you want to, and if you have any questions. And for myself anyway, anytime I get an email, I'll do the investigation and try to get back to the person in a timely manner to answer it, you know, as best as I can.
Why, and this can be your own opinion, but why do you feel that performers should become union?
Well, unions are meant to protect their members, right? Fighting for fair wages, working conditions, benefits, that sort of stuff. So when you're with the union in terms of as performers, you're looking at being a part of a collective agreement. There's also other benefits too, specifically to UBCP ACTRA. You know, there's low cost or sometimes free workshops that are available.
Yes.
We have the scholarship fund. We've got committees. Yeah, I just think it makes it's about protecting workers' rights is what being part of a union is all about.
Some members have expressed frustration at how committees have been formed or altered over the past year without getting input or involvement from the membership at large. They say approval by the union is a phrase that they often hear, and nobody can explain who that person or persons are. So my question to you is, who makes up the union?
Well, the members make up the union, 100%. Right. Yeah.
So the decisions that are made by the union are decisions made by the members.
That's right.
Okay, so votes, for example. Simple, that's easy enough to understand. So what is the union doing to relaunch more opportunities for actors after, the pandemic, the strikes, just the slow, economy and whatnot?
Well, okay, this is a good question. We just had our annual general meeting last week where we presented the budget to be proposed and ratified by voting by the membership for 2025. And it was one of the most difficult ones because we are in a $1.2 million deficit. And our union is doing that right now. That's where we're at after COVID. And after the strikes that were 7 months long, it's been brutal, and we're not seeing in terms of the trajectory of where things are going that the industry is going to get back to the place that it was in terms of busyness.
Is that before the pandemic or before the strike?
Before the strike, because there was an upsurge of productions coming out of pandemic. That was great. We had a little upstart right after the strikes, and then now things are leveling out. So we're trying to see, you can never predict what's happening in the future too much. But we're trying to see, okay, how are we going to get through if this is now the pace of things? Hopefully not less than where we're at. So yeah, it was really difficult for me personally to look at those numbers, having been on the board now 5 years almost. No, 4 years, and seeing, okay, we're in a deficit. Where can we shave things off here and there? But what are the things that we have to keep? So for me, and I believe the rest of the board, what was important is the mental health supports that are in place, and also the scholarship fund, so that people, if they decide to pivot or they want to do something further in their career or change, change directions, that there's something available to assist with that. So those are the things that became the focus for how do we move forward.
Right. Now, a big part of why the strike happened in America was because of AI. But what has UBCP ACTRA been doing to protect actors from AI?
This is the hot topic.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
AI is here. And I think what the union is working on tirelessly right now, we're standing with SAG-AFTRA with their gaming performers who are just getting decimated because of AI. We're preparing for bargaining right now. Next month, it will be the IPA, which is the agreement for all of Canada. And then in March, I believe, of 2025, we'll be going in for our BC MPA, which is the master agreement for multiple unions within the film industry in BC specifically. So the things that we've been looking at are consent, control, and compensation. So consent meaning each performer is signing, yes, I know that you're going to do this, and I consent to you doing this. The control piece is how is your image, your voice going to be used. We want the artist to have control over that. And then finally, compensation. How much is that going to cost? So those three factors need to be in play. I think the benefit that BC has is that SAG-AFTRA is fighting this tooth and nail right now. So we're able to look at, okay, what were they able to gain with regards to AI and protections there for the artists. The IPA is happening in October. So we're a part of that bargaining process. So that's going to be something to watch carefully, I would say. What are the gains that are made there? And then when it comes to our agreement, which is kind of why we wanted to extend, is we want to have as much information as possible. So when we go into that negotiating table, we can continue to tweak and go, we want this, we want this, we want this. Bargaining is, I'm not going to say it's ridiculous. That's not what I'm saying. But having been in the room for a bargaining agreement in the past, I was really floored at the process. I didn't realize what goes into it. I mean, literally, the language is so important. And you can be sitting across the table with the people that you're bargaining with over, you know, the instead of a.
Right.
And it's this, you know, things can be stalled for hours, days.
Just because of something small like that. So are lawyers in the room then? Because it sounds like if it can be such minor language, everyone really needs to be able to understand what every word could mean.
Exactly.
So are there lawyers in the room?
There's not lawyers, so we would have our bargaining professionals. So for us, we've got Leslie Brady and her team. And that's what they do for a living.
Right.
So I feel as though, you know, as artists, actors, performers, we need to trust that they've got our back. And what she has done, or the bargaining team has done, is they've had focus groups. They've put the call up, please come and talk to us.
Yeah.
That's the part of, you know, being in the union. That's one of the pieces, is it's your voice.
Yes.
Please come, let us know. What are your concerns? What are the things we're going to take in? Because they'll go in, say, with a list of 20 items. This is what we want, this, and this, and this. And then on the other side, they'll come in with their items that they want. And that's where the bargaining piece is.
Right.
Is really going, okay, we really want to push for this. This is where we draw the line, you know. And so they will have some of us performers, which would be the board members. Sometimes they'll ask someone from the membership who may be, you know, specialized in a certain aspect to come in and be at the table, right? So that I can look the people in their eyes as our both of our bargaining professionals are doing their work. And sometimes that helps. They can get personal stories from performers to, you know, further their case.
Yes.
That sort of thing. So that's how it kind of bargaining works. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does. Yeah. It does. Okay. And I also get the impression that the board and the union care about solutions as much as the actors and the performers care about those solutions. And performer participation is important, because then you can be a part of those conversations. And you know, the industry is a unity, it's a community, and the more togetherness that we can have, I think the better off we can be for it. And that's a part of the members and the union board members collaborating together too and that's what comes at the meetings, I assume.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, here's another question. Generations of actors have fought hard for certain conditions, standards, and rates. How do the evolving elements, including, you know, subscriptions, and the needs of the other side of the table, so producers, factor into areas we may need to reconsider for the aligned good of all involved and entice more work to come to Vancouver? It's a loaded question.
I know. I'm like, okay.
Yes.
So what I'm understanding from your question is the bottom line is how can we entice more productions to come to BC?
Yes, and also not at, so because a lot of the work there's not much coming into Vancouver right now, but we are still a hot spot, so there is still lots, but it comes at a cost, it feels like, and the cost is what the producers want.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I see where you're going there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's such a tricky thing because BC is historically been a service industry in terms of we're not really making our own product. We're not producing our own stuff and putting it out there. We are serving, for the most part, American producers.
Yes.
So things were put in place prior, like historically, to say, okay, yeah, we want more American productions in BC. So certain allowances were made, I would say, to bring them in. But now they're here and we are set. We've got one of the top industries for film in the world. We've got the studios, we've got the crews, we've got the artists, so wanting to, now we've got some power there, but it is really difficult because as you can see in LA, for example, after the strikes, producers said, okay, well, we're moving to Atlanta. We're just going to move over there, and what do I want to do with that?
Yeah.
So it's this weird power play that I don't think is fair. I think a lot of the bottom line from the beginning of television was about advertising. And that really hit me this week when I was thinking about coming to do this interview. It was on my mind, right?
Yeah.
If it's all about the money, not about the art, there's going to be something that's happening inside for us as creatives because we're about the storytelling.
Yes.
That's what we want. But we also want to be able to eat.
Yes.
And have decent wages and be able to know that we can sustain ourselves. But I'm not sure what's on the producer's minds.
Right.
Do they care about the creative process? Or is it about selling a product and what their bottom line is? So it makes it really difficult, especially when you're looking at bargaining, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, what can we get when it feels as though we're consistently being asked to take less? It's so interesting because, I'm 58 years old, for example, and I feel as though, was it always like this? Was it always about the producers needing to make money? Have I just been selling myself a bill of goods that it's about creative storytelling and, the magic of theater and film and television and things like that. But I think, again, that's who we are. That's our piece in this picture of film and television is, we are the storytellers. And we are the ones who are putting our emotions and our hearts out there, doing amazing things. And I think the audience appreciates a live person performing. I would hope so.
Yes, I would hope so too. Otherwise, we're not in a good spot. Yes.
So I feel that there's a place that we need to get to where artists are respected for what they bring to the table, what they bring culturally to the world, and it cannot be just about putting out a product so I can, let me place this here while that person's breaking down emotionally. Yeah. Because we really wanted to sell this thing. It just can't be about that.
No, I totally agree. Okay, so a longtime member who wants to stay anonymous said that the last general meeting they attended included invites saying that there were limited space. And they were surprised at the numbers. They did their own head count, and in attendance, for attendance online and in person. They said attendance was 2%, just over 130 in total of 6,000 plus members. Is there a concern that the less involved membership weakens our solidarity to producers? And does this suggest that there may be a deeper rooted problem in the current state of things?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that question. You know, it's curious to me because I didn't know. I mean, as a union member, over the years, yes, I've been involved, and then I haven't really cared about it. Like, oh, I'm protected, my rights are good, you know. And then I started to attend more meetings and started to pay a bit more attention. And it was really disheartening to me for things like that to happen. You know, I'll give an example of putting on a workshop through the Mental Health and Addictions Committee at the time. I said I wanted it to be free. We got it through. We passed it through as a recommendation. Everything was set up. We had 10 people that were supposed to attend. 2 people came.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my goodness, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
In terms of getting people to the rooms, you know? So if you're going to sign up to be at the AGM, for example, then please come.
Yes.
Because someone else wanted to come.
Yes.
But you took their spot, and now you're not even bothering to show up. That, for me, is upsetting. And then in terms of, is there an underlying, more deeper rooted issue that's going on? I'm not really sure. Because it's on you to be excited about or interested in or upset about or whatever it is. Engage.
Yes.
You know, I don't really feel like it's on me as a board member, as a vice president, to go, please come and talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, my door is always open. So it's an interesting thing, and we are talking about it on a board level. We've got some younger members on the board this term, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Because they just let me know, like, Liza, people don't read emails. We're not on Facebook. IG's on the way out, you know, get it together. So I'm really excited to see what are the other ways that we can engage the membership, get people more involved, because it's your union. Yeah. You are the union. So if you don't care about it, we'll still protect your rights. We'll still be working on your behalf. But yeah, it's not my union. It's not the union. Yeah. It's your union.
Speaking of online or member participation, here's another question. An online vote a few years ago also received less than 10% of the membership's voting. Is that a sign that this current leadership group is not connecting to the majority of the membership?
I mean, I love that question again. You know, the defense part of me is going to give you that response, which is like, it's not for me to engage with you, it's for you to engage with me. Yeah. Which, I mean, it sounds really rude, but if 10% of the membership is voting, then yeah, it's something that we need to take a look at. And I think even politically in the world, people are not taking the time to vote, and that's when bad things happen.
Very bad.
You know? So it's like, how you can't force someone to be involved. Yeah. You just can't. So in terms of putting the onus on, if you're saying the onus is on the board, if you're talking about the leadership, to engage with the membership, I just find that really difficult. Yeah. For me. You know, I know that there are other board members who are really great at doing the Instagram posts and the TikToks and all of that kind of stuff. For me, I'm the type of person that tell me what to do, and I'm the person in the background getting things figured out, getting things done. That's the way that I work. I listen, I see what needs to be done, and then I go, okay, let's get to work and do it. So I don't spend a lot of time sort of reaching out and going, hey, come and talk to me, you know.
But there are thousands of people in the union. You can't reach out to every single person.
Over 8,000 members right now.
There's no way you're going to be able to check in on everyone and reach out to everyone on your own, but like you said earlier, if you get an email, you respond and you do the work for it. So there's a lot of trust in that fact.
But I would like to say, I mean, there's something that this board started, which is the weekly update.
Yes.
We've asked our team to send that out. So that's an initiative to see if people will be more engaged that way. I mean, it's about opening your email. If someone's sending you a letter and then you refuse to open it and then go back and go, well, you're not engaging with me.
Right. Is it reasonable to expect to make a living as an actor in today's economy?
In any economy?
Yeah, in any economy.
I mean, I think you almost have to be a little bit crazy to decide, I'm going to do this for my living, this is what I'm going to do. I think in terms of stats, there are 10% of the 8,000 members that make over $30,000 a year. SAG-AFTRA stats even lower. You know, I remember reading something way back. I was like, oh my goodness, like 3% of SAG-AFTRA actors actually make a living wage. Insane. So it is insane, and that's why, for me, I always recommend having a side gig. There's no shame in it, you know. There was an article a few years back of a well-known actress, and she was waitressing. And someone was like, well, what the hell are you doing waitressing? She said, I'm paying my rent.
Yeah.
What are you threatening to do?
Yeah.
You do need to eat unless you're independently wealthy. You know, then I don't think that's what I want to see, is just independently wealthy actors and creatives out there. But yeah, trying to make a living in this industry is really tough. Is really tough. And I don't know if any of your teachers have said this. I've heard it from some workshop or something that I took is, you know, you don't want to look hungry. People can smell that. People can taste it. They can see it. Oh, she's depending on this role to get her through the next 2 months. We don't want her on the set. You know.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one. Yes. It's a tricky one. It's why I sort of pivoted and said I need to find something else that I can do so that I don't need the next role. I'd love it.
Yes, please give it. Yes.
But it's not something that I'm going to die if I don't get the next gig. It just cannot be that important.
That is what I'm currently doing right now, is because I got out of high school in 2021 and full throttle went into acting because I didn't realize that yet. And I mean, people told me, but I'm someone who has to see everything for myself to believe it. Yeah. And, you know, then the strike, and it's been slow. And so last month I started my second passion, which is skincare. And so I'm in school for medical esthetician, or to be a medical esthetician. And so that is what will be my livable wage. But I always say, and I said it from day one to my, you know, skincare teacher, my priority is acting. So if I have an audition, if I get booked, I will be there. Yeah. And that's just how it is. But yeah, it definitely is about just surviving and being able to do the things that you love. And that might be, you know, probably most likely having multiple sources.
I think that's just the way where we are as a society right now. You know, people that used to work in one industry their whole lives, that's over. Yeah. You know, we need to be able to pivot. We need to be creative in different choices, and, you know, how am I going to navigate this life as an actor and still feed myself and my family and that sort of stuff. So I really recommend to actors, you know, if I were to go back in time, I would have learned how to, I would have spent more time maybe writing, learning how to write, producing perhaps, lighting. I always loved lighting, you know, so that I'd have something else to do. Yeah. I would have started with that in mind rather than starting and then stopping and then going back in. It's all good. Yes. And you do learn a lot when you don't just work in the film industry too. Yeah. You learn a lot about people and life, and I think it brings something to your work.
Will UBCP ACTRA modify their credit legibility to model SEGs? For actors getting into the union, they need 3 credits, but SEG only requires 1.
Okay.
And then for background performers, SEG requires 3, but UBCP requires 15. Is there any desire to follow in SEG's footsteps with that and make it easier for performers to become union?
Yeah, so we are looking at that actually right now. I know there's been discussions about it in the room, simply because the more members that we have, the stronger we are when we go into bargaining. So that's definitely something that could be looked at. Again, it's about the members saying, hey, we want this.
Yeah.
Right? Bringing recommendations, and then we can sit and unpack it in the room with the board and also with our staff complement, who would be able to look at, okay, well, this is the ramifications of this. This is what's going to cost for everyone at the end of the day. Is it going to be beneficial? Is it not? Yeah, I think there's power in numbers, so I don't have an issue with it. But again, I'd have to look at the full picture of what does that mean.
Right. And then for background performers as well, I found this interesting when I was reading sort of the document of terms, that they don't get benefits. And I think that's kind of crazy. Do you know why that is?
I cannot answer that. It's a question that came up in my first term. I asked that specific question because I thought that's not okay.
Yeah.
Just because I have the history of, I mean, I worked a lot in background and stand-in. I did a lot. That was my main living for, gosh, about 7 or 8 years. That's, now, having said that, I was a full member. I didn't come in as a background member. But I am curious about that, and I really love that question. It's one of the ones that I'm going to take back to the boardroom. I go, what is this about? Let me understand what this background category is. How does it benefit our members? And I'm talking about background members.
Yes.
And what are the things that need to be in place? I'm huge. I know you've looked up on me a little bit.
Yes.
I'm all about mental health, benefits, making sure people are okay.
Yes.
So I feel as though this might be something that I personally could take on. I just need to know how to do that.
Right.
We've got Members Benefits Trust, which is our extended health benefits program, or you can choose AFBS, which is the national program that you can also choose from. So I feel like there may be some work to do there. I think that's the pathway. If that's what we're looking for, is I want background members to have extended health benefits and RRSPs. Those would be the 2 bodies that are managing that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I hope some work gets done with that, and that you're able to make it happen, because like you were saying, a lot of people go into background to just be able to make some money and eat food, and it would be nice if they could also have benefits.
Have some benefit from that. Yeah.
My last question for the union is why...
Your union. Yes.
From the union, your union specifically.
Say my union.
Your Liza's union. Why are commercials no longer union?
Oh my word. This is the battle royale. Pre-AI, which is the next battle royale.
Yes.
So, yes. I would say, how old is my daughter? Yeah. So I would say about 20 years ago, there were a lot of commercials that started to become non-union in BC. Our esteemed Ellie Harvey at the time took it to national and said, just so you know, this is what's happening in BC. The commercial industry is being taken over. They are engaging non-union actors and refusing to use union actors. For a lot of actors back in the day, myself included, that was my bread and butter, my basics, so that I could then focus on being an actor. I'd have a commercial, I'd go, great, I could pay my rent and everything for like 6-7 months, whoo, let's do this. So it started to go away in BC first. Ellie Harvey made the call to national to say, please pay attention to this. It wasn't affecting the rest of the country at that point. They were like, yeah, whatever, BC, you guys are always outliers. Whatever. We don't worry about it. But now, it's taken over the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
So now, nationally, there's a huge fight. I think they just finished ratifying the NCA National Commercial Agreement.
Mm-hmm.
It took months.
Yeah.
It took months because I'm trying to find the right word, and you may know it.
I don't know.
It's like the commercial producers.
Oh.
Yeah, so the people that are actually in charge of hiring the performers, they are fully against paying actors their dues because it costs them less to have a non-union person do that work, right? Yeah. They can use it forever. They can put it on all different platforms. And it's tricky because I know a lot of people who aren't even interested in being an actor, not interested in taking any training, but they're like, hey, this commercial thing is great. They're paying me to fly down to Belize for the weekend, putting me up in a 4-star hotel, and then giving me $3,000, and I've done this commercial.
Sorry, Belize is my dream vacation location.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
so it's a tough sell, and like I have a business mind.
Yes.
And I can hear it. I can see the numbers in my head. Why would I pay a union actor this amount of money? And I have they've got that control over how much I can use this when I can just talk to someone on the street and say, hey, do you want to be a commercial?
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of money. It's a really tough fight.
Yeah. And it's been an ongoing fight, obviously. And
many, many years.
And also, that's another thing that hopefully one day gets resolved. But if producers are happy with how things are, then they don't really see any problem. And with that,
it comes down to the money thing again, right? And it's really not sickening, but it's really disturbing to me that, say, a company, I'm just going to I won't say any company. So say a big corporation who has billions of dollars.
Yeah.
To pay an actor to do an actor's role is really not much. But rather than do that, they say, oh, you know what? Let's scrape the barrel even more and we'll just use a non-union person. That'll save us, this amount on their whole budget. It's so disturbing to me, and it's disrespectful of the art of acting. I'm not saying that commercials are high art. I'm not trying to say that at all. But that was a means for us to be able to sustain our lives and our families, and they don't seem to care.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. It's a sad thing. But to pivot and to not be so sad anymore.
Let's not leave it on that note.
I want to ask you to lighten the mood before we go. What TV show or movie childhood you would have loved to be in?
Oh, that's so easy. Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yes.
That was my jam.
Yes.
No matter what I was doing as I was a teenager, I would run home. I gotta get home, Saturday Night Live. I just loved it back in the day. And that was the show I wanted to be on. I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that would have been a good show to be on.
That was the dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a good dream. My favorite person is Ariana Grande, and she's going to be on Saturday Night Live this month.
So there we go.
I'm very looking forward to that. Yes. Do you have any projects or anything that you think people should stay tuned for coming out soon, or that just came out?
Okay. So this year's been a good one for me. So I've got a series on Hallmark Plus, Chicken Sisters. That's playing right now. I did a couple days on Murder in a Small Town. I believe that's coming out. Yeah, just lots of little bits, and I seem to be in the Hallmark vein. So
it's a good place to be.
It's an okay place to be. I'm very grateful for the work, and just watch. You will
Yes.
see. You will see.
I auditioned for Chicken Sisters too, and now, see, it's always exciting when the stuff you auditioned for comes out and you can see the whole vision. So where can people find that email if they have questions for you?
Yes.
And any other information you want to give?
Okay, so it's liza.huget@ubcpactra.ca. That's how you can get a hold of me.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on, answering some of those hard-hitting questions, and having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
It was fun. And that's a wrap on Film People.